Dinosaurs connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you call Dukes, and to my right, it's all about the...
Booyah, what's up? It's your boy Joe, baby. From Oceanside, not Hammett, baby.
And to my other right, hailing straight out of Hemet North, also Krakoa, Alfonso X-Man Flores.
And I'll form the head. Wait a minute. I was him at West Side.
And to my other right, playing on the football team for Hemet North, Dan, you can't stop me from calling you Poppy or calling football plays. Dan the Man Salazar.
Lion team, go.
Oh, man.
So this is going to be an awesome episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast because I'm a huge Voltron fan. Like, I remember as a kid, I would watch Voltron and then sprint to school. I always wanted the Voltron action figures, but you could never find them anywhere. And I was the poors, and I had the homies whose Joe probably had them, because the homies whose dads went to Okinawa would come back with the Voltron figures, and then they'd be like, "Oh, I got the Voltron figures, right?" And I'd be like, "Oh, that's cool. I should get that." And they'd be like, "My dad, he went to Okinawa." And I'd be like, "Yeah, my dad didn't go to Okinawa." So I'm excited about Voltron. There's a little bit of trauma in there for me, as you can tell, but man, I'm excited. Voltron Force, baby. And Alfonso is going to be forming the head all night long. So, Dan the Man, thank you so much for being back on the podcast. And I have to say that you and I have talked about doing this episode for a while, man. So you must be as big of a fan of Voltron as me.
I am, and I appreciate you guys inviting me. That was a big part of the childhood experience of whether it was in the morning or in the afternoons and getting to watch, those Voltron cartoons. But first off, I also want to give a shout out to the late, great James Earl Jones, man. Besides being the voice of Darth Vader and Mufasa, he was a great actor with this great body of work. So tip of the cap to you guys on that tribute pod.
Thank you very much for that. James Earl Jones did make movies, and some of them were good. Alfonso X-Man Flores throwing in a little bit of sunshine right now. Voltron, probably a little bit before your time. What's your thoughts on Voltron? And I'll form the microphone.
Before my time, sir. How dare you? Voltron was in my prime. Man, I was getting up early, eating my bowl of cereal, watching some Voltron, or maybe I was coming home from school, rushing home to watch it. I don't remember. Or maybe it was both, because you never know. Time. But yeah, Voltron was a big part of my childhood. It was such an awesome show. I guess I was so young that I didn't realize that the mouth wasn't matching the words. And I'm like, well, what was going on with that? Later on, I find out, oh, it's imported from Japan, and they're just translating it. And then, later on, you find out, man, that's not even what the cartoon was about. It's like they completely took it and just changed it like they did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for you younger kids out there in podcast land. But yeah, Voltron was amazing. I loved Voltron. I mean, it was just like, whoa, there's lions, robot lions. Those are so sweet, and they're huge, and you could put them together and it becomes a giant robot. Oh man, that was kaiju before kaiju was kaiju and all that. But man, I never had Voltron. I wanted Voltron. It was not an inexpensive toy for back in the day. I mean, it's probably like $10 a lion, which back in the day equated to like $500 each. I never got one, but I think, what was it? one day back in the late 90s, I found a yellow metallic lion somewhere, like at a yard sale or something, and I have it somewhere here. But yeah, no
Wow.
Voltron for me, man.
Well, first of all, I love how you downplay the cost of the lines. Oh, they were $10 each. That's $50 for a whole robot, bro.
In 1984, no kidding. That's money.
That was major money back then. And by the way, nobody cared about the yellow, green lion. It was the blue and the red and the black. Nobody cared about the yellow and the green at all.
You're gonna walk around with one arm and one leg?
Yeah, I guess.
It's just a flesh wound.
But yeah, so I got to turn it over to Joe. I want to see if he had the Voltron. Did you have your Voltron, Joe?
Yeah, so I was one of the fools from Okinawa. So I actually got to watch Voltron and the Power Rangers there. But I always got 4 to the 5 because I remember my mom was at a bowling alley on base, and there was like these little machines that you can get little lions out of. It was remember, instead of like gumball machines, they were like little toy machines, which is very common now. Like if you go, they'll have like some spots that have like a Japanese store, and you just put money in there and you turn it out and you get whatever out of there. But I remember I used to get a lot of like ones that I didn't need. I had all 4 and I couldn't get the black one. And you didn't realize that's how they got you. They put all those other ones in there, and you maybe got one black one in that thing, and you got to pay all of it to get to it. But yeah, like I watched it. I think I left Okinawa in '83. So when I came back, I couldn't brag to you about the toys because we didn't know each other then. And '84 is when, it's kind of funny when I'd watch it in Japanese, and mom would always come in and be like, "You can't understand Japanese. Why are you listening to that?" But what's crazy is one of the videos that you had sent me, Alan, about the Voltron history. They said that you could watch it and understand it without no dialogue. And I remember that as a kid. I knew what was going on, even though I didn't understand or speak Japanese. And then when I came in here, and in '84, it came out on like TV, was dope to see it.
Yeah, you did a lot of that where you saw everything first, and you got to see it in America, which is really cool. So I'm gonna try to offend as many millennials as possible with this statement, because I was explaining to my wife exactly what Voltron is. Voltron is what the Power Rangers could have been if they were actually cool. I think that's the best way to describe Voltron. So just had to throw that out
something about the Voltron toys though too. I mean, for as much as I had my beloved Star Wars collection, that there was something more to that Voltron toys. I mean, they were die cast, so they were a little heavier. There was more to it. They seemed more significant. Yeah. And a good friend of mine that I played Little League with, he had the Voltron, and my jaw about hit the floor. But the one bad thing was, though, they never really had that significant like enemy or whatever toy for you to fight against. So I was like, okay, we're flying off into space, so we're crossing over. Oh no, a TIE fighter shooting at Voltron, but
yeah. Yeah, they had Zoltar and they had Prince Lothar and Hagar the Witch, but they were all to fight the Voltron force. But as far as I know, to your point, Danny, they never made any Robeasts for Voltron to fight, which is
it was like a monster of the week kind of thing.
Yeah. You could come up with a monster of the week, or at least they could have come up with like a Godzilla toy and like painted it blue or something and just had it fight that,
Stop it, dude. Stop it. Bro, they didn't even care for the 15-car version of Voltron. You think they're going to care about like some beasts, bro? Every kid wanted the lions, and every kid couldn't afford all the lions. So it didn't matter about any other beast or anything that they created. You didn't have the full set. Dude, it was like that with Transformers. Remember when the aerial bots? I could never get all of them. Yeah. Because the other ones were like $2, $3, but to get the other one was like $25. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. So the middle part is $25. And back then, $25 is like $100.
Yeah.
Back when the economy was good. Anyways.
Yeah, you're right, bro. You're absolutely right. Like, you're right. Cause it's like, why bother? Cause kind of like Alfonso said, you have a Voltron with one arm and one leg, because you could never actually put them all together because you couldn't afford it.
However, to your point, dude, no one cared about the yellow and the green, dude. It was all about the other 3, dude. Sven was always my favorite.
Sven.
He was the one that like actually
I-
died in the original one, but then from that video, I didn't know there was a twin in the Japanese version.
Yeah.
They tricked you. And then and she was wearing pink. Wasn't she wearing pink?
Yes.
Princess Aurora.
Princess
yeah.
Aurora.
And that threw me off too.
Aurora,
I'm like,
yeah.
why you gotta wear
Why?
pink? You wear black. Come on, cuh.
But then what's the main
Or
guy?
blue. Sorry, blue. Wear blue. My
Okay.
bad.
Okay.
Yeah, wear the blue one. You're in the blue lion. There ain't
No,
no
no.
pink lion.
None of the colors that the Paladins wore matched
Oh yeah, that's
the lions that they
right.
were in.
They
I think
No way.
Pidge was the only one. He wore green and he was in the Green Lion.
Yeah, that's
Chunk-
right, because
Hunk-
the leader was red
Yeah.
and he did the black.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
And Hunk had like orange, but he was in the Yellow Lion. So he was pretty close. But the ones that nobody cares about are the ones that match the most. So
Wow. Mind blown.
Yeah.
I never noticed that. Now, of course, Princess has to wear pink because it's the 1980s, and if you're a woman,
Oh
or a
yeah,
girl,
it was pink. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, it's like, oh, Pink Ranger. Why? Because it's a girl.
Which I don't know, because the original series was made in Japan. I don't even know if back then Japan was like pink and princesses and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
She-Ra, Princess of Power, she was pink.
No, she wasn't.
No.
Now you better look it up right fast, dude. Because
That's right. It was like gold and red, huh?
gold and white,
Right.
dude.
Yeah, gold and white, bro.
Yeah, it was like, what about Jim in the hologram? She was pink.
Jim was pink, and she was
And
also truly
Truly
outrageous.
outrageous.
That's right. So yeah, we're about to go everywhere with this, ladies, gentlemen, tonight. So
80s
strap
style.
on your seatbelts, because like there's so much to cover with Voltron. I'm gonna let you guys just open it up,
Get
talk
your baby
about
oil.
what you can talk about you can talk about the toys, the cartoon, the characters, the villains. I mean, there's so much to talk about, or the garbage remakes, which I'm going to stay away from, but Alfonso is going to go deep on that because he actually watched it. So let's see here. Where do you guys want to start? What do you want to talk about?
Well, to start with, the Japanese versions, you had the Beast King Go Lion, which was the Lion Squad. And then you had Armored Fleet Daruger 15, and that was the vehicle-based one. But I think that was honestly what made Voltron kind of stand apart from the other quote-unquote 30-minute toy commercials that were criticized back then. He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe. With that anime background, the stories seemed a little more mature. You had a little more mature themes and things like that. Things were a little more exciting, and so it seemed cooler, that you had this more older kind of approach to it, rather than looking back. And that's why it still kind of holds up to this day. You look back at the old ones, and sorry, a little distracted here, but you look back at the other cartoons, the He-Mans and Transformers and things like that, and you kind of do have to acknowledge that they were 30-minute toy commercials.
Yeah, totally. Now, I might be wrong, so I'm going to acquiesce if I'm wrong on this. In the original Japanese version, people actually died, and they'd have to cut it out for the American version. Am I wrong there?
Yeah. What's his name?
Sven.
Sven died, but when they brought it over to America, they made it like, oh, he was just gravely injured, and they had to take him back to Earth where the special doctor can take care of him. But hey, one other deep dive about the whole Japanese version. When they were doing the research for Voltron, when they wanted to create it, there was a whole different anime that they were watching where this robot had a lion on the chest, and they're like, we want the lion one. And like, oh, you want the lion one? Hit the 5 lion. Sorry, that was.
Well, I don't want to be canceled, but one of the four of us just got canceled. I don't know which one it was.
But Joe gets canceled all the time. You get canceled all the time. Why not me?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
We're diverse here, so we're equal.
We're equally offensive.
We're
And
a little
everybody
mentally
can
strong.
get it. Everyone can get it. No Diddy.
So, looking at the Japanese version compared to the American version, you talked about the cars. I think it's interesting that the original idea was, the cars came out as the season 2, and they thought that the cars were going to be more popular than the lions. But when they finally rolled out in the United States, it was like everyone just said like, "Hey, we want the lions back." And so for me, it's just I think it's interesting because I thought that the idea of the cars was more interesting. It seemed like there was more like a better story, but people just rejected the cars more so. Oh, plus Pidge had his twin brother too. I guess Pidge had a twin brother. I think his name was Midge. By the way, did you know Pidge was a girl?
Pidge was a girl in the newer one on Netflix.
No. Originally Pidge in Japan. It's true, man. Check it out, homie.
In Japan.
Japan, yeah. Dude, I can't. Wouldn't be much of. Hey, did you know Pidge was a girl? But no, he's not. This is clearly a dude. Yeah,
Right.
but originally in Japan, he was supposed to be a girl, and then in the United States, they were just like, yeah, let's just make him a boy. So anyway, so Pidge had the twin, Sven had the twin, and yeah, that's kind of how they rolled with that. But yeah,
dude, they were ahead with that stuff. That
Yeah.
like that, like using women.
Mhm.
Also, if also, what's the other cartoon I'm thinking of, dude? Oh, Robotech, when they did interracial relationships and people were dying.
they had
And
interracial
then,
relationships on Robotech.
yeah. Remember Roy?
He was
Like-
with that pink girl or
Yeah,
purple girl.
yeah. He was with a black woman, and Roy was white, blonde hair, blue
Oh,
eyes.
that's right.
Did she have purple hair? Because that doesn't count.
No, she was a black woman, bro.
I was thinking of Max. Max had that one
And
alien.
then also like Battle of Planets, the main villain was trans.
Mm.
Or
Bro.
not yeah, it's crazy, bro.
No,
Yeah.
you're thinking the game Final Fight for Sega.
No. This is Battle of the Planets. Well, the
No,
guy with the
that's
horns.
true.
What was his
Actually-
name? I can't. But yeah, he was like a man, but identified as a woman. I think that's what it was. It's kind of crazy, bro. They were ahead because I remember as a kid, I used to be like, "Why is he wearing lipstick?" But sounds like he's like a woman. But if I read some stuff about that because I was like, do I
Interesting.
really want to start watching Battle of the Planets? I was trying to, you remember stuff and
Yeah.
got down that
Zoltar.
rabbit hole, and that's what I found out about. I was like, wow, okay. Explains a lot.
Zoltar was the name.
Yeah, there he goes, Zoltar.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I'm confused. I'm sorry. Zoltar was the king for Voltron, right?
No, we're talking about Battle of the Planets.
Battle Planets, right?
They had the same name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm caught up now.
And then there was "Don't Mess with the Zoltar" with Adam Sandler.
I think that's just America in that time trying to keep it simple. Oh, we'll just give them the same name.
It is, bro. They're just like same name.
But yeah, Japan in that time. Was
The funny
ahead
thing
as
is, like,
far
for a
as
long
animation.
time, I was seeking out Battle of the Planets, trying to look for a place that was streaming, and I found it on YouTube. Because I remember, like, when I was like a little kid, like 6, 7 years old, it was like the coolest thing ever. And the ship, the Phoenix, and everything like that.
Mhm.
And I went back and watched it, and it doesn't really hold up, but it seems so disjointed with an American adaptation because like the dubbing is so bad, and it's so like you actually have to have a narrator, like, and meanwhile back on this planet here, and it just goes back and forth like that, where they have to guide you through the storyline, and it doesn't hold up that well.
Dude, for
Yeah,
some
'cause
reason,
I think, go ahead. Sorry.
that's just one that I remember the least. I remember loving it, but I don't remember much about it. And I always thought it was called G-Force. So anytime I tried to do any research on it, I couldn't find it. I found those stupid little hamsters. There was a G-Force movie. It was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't the name of the team the G-Force, but
Yes.
and it was Gotcha Man?
Because they're a bunch
Yeah,
of G.
gotcha, man. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But also, like, the reason why it doesn't hold up is because back then people didn't know how to speak Japanese. So they were trying their best to try to translate it. And that's why I think it doesn't come off as well as it could have been. But at that time, just them dubbing it and giving us whatever they gave us. But to your point, I try to watch, like Gotcha Man on, I think it was Amazon. I couldn't do it, dude. I was like, nah, I can't do it, dude. It just doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, as far as Voltron goes, it's interesting because Joe's right. I don't know if they intentionally were kind of ahead with, like, having women in roles where they weren't just like sidekicks. They were
Mhm.
actually there in the battle. But I think that's pretty cool. I never noticed that,
Mhm.
but you're absolutely right, Joe.
And
That's
they
definitely,
did it very naturally.
yeah,
Like, when I saw Robotech, you watch it, you think that's normal for a black woman to go out with a black man. You don't see any difference because you're taught. Like,
mhm,
I'm a firm believer racism is taught, dude. Like, you just don't wake up one day and be like, I hate everybody. Unless you get old, I guess. The older you get, you start to hate everything.
yeah.
Um, but but yeah, dude, like you just thought it was normal. Like, you didn't question it. You didn't, which they should take notes from on movies now, because I feel like they can't do it naturally and you just force everything down your throat.
Yeah, totally.
They always got to make it a center of attention, and
Mhm.
and just let it happen.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. So, looking at the first Voltron that we all got to watch, I mean, you know, it's funny because it felt like the story was very like there was no story. After they found the five lions, there was no story. But at the same time, it kept me engaged. Do you guys remember there being an actual like plot or story or anything?
No, it was just the monster of the week, man. But it's funny. I was watching the intro again, and it's like, meanwhile, on Earth, a galaxy alliance has been formed, and it's like, oh, did these guys come from Earth to defend? What's Eternia? What's the place called again? Avalon.
You said Eternia, now it's now my brain just has Eternia in it. Oh, Planet Eris.
Planet Eris, right? So
Yeah.
it's like they came from Earth to find the lions because I guess the whole story went was there was Voltron, who was a sentient being a long time ago, and then somehow it lost power, got split up, and then people made it into robots so that they could fly them or something. And I was watching some TikTok about it, and I wasn't quite understanding, but I'm like, I didn't get that out of that. So unless that came from the original Japanese version, I don't. What do you think, Dukes?
I never got that. The story that I got, which kind of aligns, is just like, oh, we have to go to different parts of Planet Eris, which happened to coincide with the color of the lions. So, they found the blue lion in the water, they found the green lion in the forest, they found the yellow lion in the sand. I want to say they found the black lion in like a cave or something, but yeah,
The red lion was in lava.
yeah. See, oh, wow. So I remember that, but as far as like this, oh, there was this being and he got split apart, I think they left that out in the translation. Yeah.
But I think in those times, like in the 80s and late 80s, stuff like that, there wasn't really much anything detailed stories. Like, you're looking at cartoons now that have, like, you start from here, there's a middle and there's an end. Where
Right.
back then it was just like we didn't really care about any story. We just wanted to see the lions. So, like, it was, if they fought like some monsters every episode, that's all we cared about. We're like, who is he gonna, like, bring his hands together and form that blade and then, kill the monster. That's all anyone ever cared about.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember is from is they all got trapped, they all got free, they all got lions. Finn got captured apparently. So Princess Leia
Well, that was what
became the other one. And
it was
then
a big deal back then when there was more than
yeah,
one episode of any cartoon that was connected. It was a to be
yeah,
continued, so you had to watch the next one.
right.
And I think that's kind of what set apart the vehicle-based one, that it did kind of have a little bit more of an overarching storyline that connected from episode to episode, and you had more characters, you had more kind of politics involved with like the galactic whatever governed them, and so it wasn't as entertaining, I guess you could say. But if you go back and watch it as an adult, it's a little more interesting.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you just want to see smash bang Voltron kill.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are right, because for me, all that mattered is him forming the blazing sword. Blazing sword. As
Yeah,
soon as he did that, I was like, bruh, that's all I needed. My day is done. So,
if you look at
guys are
every
right.
t-shirt that you can get from Voltron, it's only that one. They don't have any other characters, no lions, nothing. It's just him getting ready to form the blazing sword, dude.
That's all you need.
Every episode was the same. They had a formula. Like, you got the guys, and they all get together, and then they got to fight. They got to fight the bad guy, and the lions aren't enough. So then the roe beast gets blown up. Yeah, and then they got to bring in Voltron because the lions can't do it. And then Voltron fights for a while, wins a little bit, loses a little bit. Oh man, I can't beat him, so I got a form blazing sword. It's like, why not just do the sword in the first? Why not just do Voltron in the first place and then pull out the sword right away, and then you don't have to deal with all this? But no, every single episode had to have that same little synopsis.
But it's no different than Battlestar Galactica. No difference than A-Team, Airwolf.
Yeah,
or even
Thunder.
professional wrestling. How interesting would it have
Yeah.
been if Hulk Hogan broke out the leg drop in the first minute?
Yeah.
Which is the weakest move ever.
Mhm. Well, we don't really want to talk about races.
Oh,
Okay, how about the flying elbow drop from the top rope, Randy Savage?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
Snappy.
So you guys are bringing up so many good points. I'll just say this, then I'll move on. Joe and I went to one of the worst conventions ever. It was a Transformer convention about 2 years ago. About
So
one
bad.
thing. That's it. I walked in there, miles and miles of Transformers, Voltron, baby. And to Joe's point, blazing sword. That's all anyone cares about. That's crazy.
it, dude. Oh, that was such a bad con, dude.
So bad. So bad.
But you know, the Lion's blazing sword was far superior than the stupid Cars blazing sword, which they had the nerve to call it the same thing. Come on, man.
Yeah, the Cars. I don't even think I watched that one, bro. I do remember watching the movie because they were together.
Yes, me too.
But like, if you watch Robotech, like I remember I used to play a lot of baseball around that time,
Mhm.
and I remember Robotech. Like, I would watch it, and I'm like, how come it keeps being different people? And then you watch it, and then you come back, and it's like, wait, who are these people? Is this the same show?
Right.
And then when baseball season was over, you watched all of them, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. It's the gradual of the time period.
Mhm.
But
They got
with
motorcycles.
yeah, but with Voltron, we're going to the other one. I didn't care about. No one cared about that one. They're not wrong in that video. No one. I didn't care about the 15 cars.
Yeah.
Where's the Lions at?
15, man. You know, that's too many characters to even try to remember their names. That's like Game of Thrones level
Mhm.
characterization, right? You had
Yeah.
a land force, you had a sea force, and an air force, all 5 of each. But why have an air force if your cars can fly, right?
Mhm.
And next thing you know, the van and the car, the roller skates. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
The only thing I liked about that other Voltron was the plane that flew around and then just landed right in the chest. That thing looks sweet. That was the sweetest part of them. You know, the head, it looked stupid. It was like a little cone. Come on.
Yeah, you can come after me, but bro, Power Rangers is really nothing but Voltron.
It's true. No, I got you. I agree wholeheartedly.
For those of you listening on podcast, that was Joe. Joe.
Towai. TOWA.
Hey, you can at me. It's the same formula, bro. Aliens coming down to attack them. They're fighting monsters at the end. They do the little sword thing. They have these little robots. I can't remember the name of them. They're what are they called? I can't remember. dude.
Zords? Were they
Zords.
Yeah, Zords. So the Zords become the whole thing. And I remember watching Power Rangers go, dude. Although you know what, dude, they were out around the same time in Japan as Voltron.
Oh.
Because I remember watching it. So like, I don't know if you guys probably know this, but the only footage they kept from all those besides the storyline and the footage of that are the Japanese stunt actors doing all the fight scenes. That's stuff that they kept. That's why if you notice, like the Power Rangers look like all guys when they had women in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Because that's old footage from the original Power Rangers.
Right. Yeah, man.
You know, to draw that parallel, it makes you wonder how long it took those 15 vehicles to come together to form that Voltron. And then you got that clip of like the Power Rangers and doing all their Zords and stuff, and the villains just
Yeah.
standing there waiting.
Yeah.
Like, get it in now. Come on, let's go.
Yay.
Like I don't even remember what it looks like forming the 15 cars, but I know with the 5 lions
It took a
how
minute,
it
man.
looks when they're formed.
Oh,
It was just
you gotta
so
get
much
the foot
better.
to go in, the foot to go in the
And
leg.
you got to
leg
remember for our
connected to
time,
the hip bone. The hip bone's connected to the
The-
torso bone.
the age bracket when we were kids, it's different than we were kids. We liked simple stuff like that. So 5 is good. We didn't want 15. Where this generation was like, they're only going to go 5, and then they get the 15. That's what I'm talking about. I feel like the
Yeah.
younger generation in this era, because of social media and technology and stuff,
well, you
they
got the
see
Pokemon
it
generation
faster
too.
and they want more.
Yeah.
And then and you'd have like 43,000 YouTubes about it. You know what I mean? Reviewing it, explaining every single little thing, everybody's backstory, personality, and whatnot. But back in the day, yeah, 15 was just too much. And all honestly, I didn't even realize that it was like the second season. Like when we started talking about that we're going to do Voltron, I'm like, oh yeah, the other Voltron cartoon. I thought it came like 5 years later. I didn't realize it was the second season. And I started doing this deep dive, and I'm like, oh man, that's weird. Oh, and then they had an episode or a movie where they were together. All right, that's interesting. But it's like it wasn't the same. I was insulted that they called it Voltron.
I'm going to throw this question out at you guys. And this is one of those things. I've seen a toy and I saw that they had a clip of it in one of the cartoons, but I'm like the only person that remembers Voltron 3. It was 3 robots that came together to
6
form
arms.
Right. You remember?
Yep. I just watched something about it today. I didn't remember it. And I was like, ooh, that was speculated to be season 3 or whatever. Actually, what's funny is Voltron the Lions is Voltron 3. The Cars is Voltron 1. And those 3 robots would have been Voltron 2. I don't understand, like, I guess the time that they were supposed to be introduced, but, not in order of the cartoon.
Right.
But yeah, I saw something about that just today, a little bit before we got on. And I'm like, oh, that looks stupid. It's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots with 6 arms.
I thought it was I was so into Voltron. I
Mm.
just wanted another Voltron. So like my brain was so just like disappointed when I never actually saw Voltron 3 fight. Like now I'm thinking about it, there's got to be a Voltron 3 cartoon out there because they based everything on Japanese cartoons. So even though it's not Voltron 3, that 6-arm robot has its own cartoon somewhere. I want to see it now.
It's called Robo Goro.
Yeah, I think it's in Japan. I think Japan did it.
Alfonso, why you got to do that to me, dude? I was about to write down Robo Goro.
Did you get over here? No, did you remember that from childhood though?
Yeah.
Maybe it was just a toy that was released or something. You said it was a commercial.
No.
Dukes had mentioned it before, and I it sounded familiar, but the more that Alf was describing it, I was like, okay, now I have a picture in my head. I know I had seen it also, but I don't remember anything about it beyond that. Just seeing
Red,
it.
Blue, and Black Robot.
Bro.
Yeah.
Y'all sound like that Sinbad movie. They're like, oh, that Sinbad movie's out there.
Kazam never happened.
I know I saw. Hey, I saw that. I know I saw that movie.
Can no one find it though? You know what I mean? Can no one find it, bro?
Let me break it down for you guys, okay? There was a scene where they were talking about the other Voltrons, and they had them up on a screen. They showed the cars, and they showed Voltron 3. I remember that.
From the video that you had sent me was the car one did so bad they never came out with the season 3 that you're talking about. Now that you mention that, I do remember that scene because I was just like, who's the other ones? But from that video, the video said they didn't do season 3 because season 2 did so poorly. And what they did was they came out with that 90-minute movie that had both of them together. And that was it.
Can we give credit where credit's due? I sent the videos.
Oh, you did? My bad. I thought Alan sent that.
I was like, yes. I sent that.
Yeah, remember that video I sent?
I was like, yes.
I totally thought it was Alan that sent that, bro.
Yeah,
it said A.L. and Joe's like, that's all I got to read.
Hey, that's it, bro. I just said
that's
the link,
it.
bro.
That's it. I was standing down on that too. I was like 10 toes. I'm 10 toes deep on this.
Yeah, you
Robo Goro.
You got me with that one, Alfonso. I was like, Robo Goro. So, no, as far as Voltron goes, I'm going to let Alfonso dive a little bit into what I'll call the legacy of Voltron, because Voltron's like everything else, right? They're like, oh, if we liked it, our kids will love it. And so I know they created a 3D animated Voltron, which I don't know if anybody watched. And then they had the Netflix Voltron. So I'm going to turn it over to Alfonso. How many seasons was that Netflix Voltron?
8 seasons. And I heard it just ended. I mean, I watched maybe the first 2 seasons with Emma, and I went back and I started trying to watch it again with Nate. And he's like, if it's not, those little space guys. What is that called? Where they're trying to. There's always somebody sabotaging somebody. Well, if it's not that, or if it's not Minecraft, he's not interested, right? What the heck is that called again? With the little, they got no arms. They're like in a space suit.
All of us? No, I'm sorry. Among Us.
Among Us. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Take away my nerd card. OnlyFans? No. So only feet? No. Yeah. So, I didn't get to finish watching it. I was really interested in it. I enjoyed it. It's like you had Pidge, who was part of the team and like got into the army or military to join up. And then like later on, like, hey, I'm actually, we're a team. You got to be honest with everybody. I'm actually a girl. My brother was the one that I'm taking the place of because something happened to him. And it turned out, that Pidge was not, Pidge. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And it's like, they didn't really they didn't sit there and harp on it. They just, it was just the way it was. So, I enjoyed it. It was decent. It's just that I couldn't get my kids interested enough to watch it with me. And it wasn't interesting enough for me to watch it alone. But if they would have stayed with me, I'd have been on it. But I enjoyed it. It looked good. The characters were good. Hunk was always my favorite, of course, kind of reminiscent of me, always happy and large. So, I guess I saw a TikTok about the finale and it was kind of weak. They say it's one of the worst endings to any cartoon ever. So I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I might just go back and watch that because they have the sum up where are they now? I know Hunk became like this. It's funny. It's Hunk, not Chunk. Chunk was Goonies. Hunk became this like world renowned chef, and Lance like grew flowers or something. It was weird.
Well, a lot of the cartoons from our childhood didn't even get a finale of any kind.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from maybe Transformers having the movie where Optimus Prime dies and they move on to a new generation of robots or whatever. But, beyond that, I mean, there was never any real closure, but we didn't really want it. We didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
So
back then, to you guys' point, it wasn't about continuity or closure. It was simply about what are they going to blow up this week and outsmart the villains. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Now I have a question for Alfonso and I have an observation. So my question for Alfonso is, did Pidge's voice change? Like
Nope.
Okay, so it just same.
Yeah, but Pidge always had that like, hey guys, this is how I talk. I'm totally a guy. But it was a young boy. Thank you.
That's actually pretty.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, it's Pidge.
Yeah, I haven't heard him in years. I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, if someone needs to do the voice of Pidge in a remake, holla at Alfonso.
Mm-hmm.
So my second observation was actually going to be, is there any character that had a more annoying voice than Pidge?
Not Orko? No, Orko? No.
Orko wasn't that bad.
No, yeah, you're right. I don't know. All I know is this cartoon
Snarf,
was so awesome.
Snarf!
Yeah.
Here, it felt like Pidge was always yelling, yet it felt like he was trying to like cough something up at the same time while he was yelling,
You guys don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was annoying. And another thing, why does the large brother have to be a chef? You know what I'm saying? Like, why couldn't he have he went on to be a world-renowned dancer? No. The big homie has to go on to make food for himself. What type of crap is that?
Hey, well, Dukes, do you trust a skinny chef? A big guy's gonna know if that stuff tastes good, right?
I don't know, man.
On the way.
I don't know, man. Your people's be in Chinese restaurants cooking some good food, so I don't know, man. I don't think you can use that anymore, dude. I don't know if you can use that anymore, man.
Dude, my favorite. You ever go to Benihana's, man, and you got the Mexican guy, and he's trying to speak with the Asian accent, and I'm like, dude, what? Why?
Stop the cap, bro.
Yeah.
Just make me my food. I know it's gonna be good, man.
You throw the shrimp into the hat and then throw it in my mouth. Make the lava or make the volcano, the onion volcano. Make the heartbeat with the rice, and then spin the egg on the spatula and quit trying to talk like an Asian man.
Mhm. Yeah.
Man, it's those observations that you don't realize until someone says it, and then it's just hilarious because
Yeah, for sure. Because you see it, you know it. I mean,
it's just so true. Yeah, I remember that's last time I went to Benihana's. That's what happened.
Road trip.
Yeah. So, as far as Voltron goes, like we've all been mentioning, it's definitely a good memory, for all of us. And I would say, overall, if you guys had to say, we all have our favorite cartoons, whether it be Transformers, GI Joe. For you guys, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I never liked personally. And I'm sorry, X-Men. To me, X-Men falls into a different category.
Yeah, it does.
X-Men came after everything else. X-Men was more Saturday morning. Wait, was it Saturday morning? Okay.
No, it's afternoon.
Yeah, it was
Afternoon?
afternoon.
Okay.
It was 90s. It was 90s.
Okay. So where do you think Voltron falls in line? Why does it actually, Matt, ask you guys this? I feel like it doesn't get like the attention that like a Transformers, TMNT, everything like that. What do you guys suppose that is?
I don't know.
Well, you didn't have the adaptions that have come out since. I mean, Transformers came out with their first movie back in 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
And then even before that, you had Beast Wars and all the other things that were coming out throughout that time. From the 80s Voltron cartoon all the way up into the 2011, there weren't a whole lot of other, Voltron variations that were filling that space, even though it was that good. Voltron, I think Thundercats is another one that kind of holds up in terms of that kind of, standing the test of time as compared to the other ones that we talked about, He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe.
Silverhawks.
Yeah, that was another good one. But then you had the newer generation of cartoons, X-Men, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Toxic Avengers, and stuff like that came out. But I know they've been talking about a live-action Voltron for a good, close to 5 to 10 years now. But, it keeps starting and stopping and things like that. But, that's probably why it's never really gained any traction with the newer generations, in my view.
Well, then you had failures like Pacific Rim. The first one was pretty good, but then after that, it kind of started dropping the ball. It's like, so why are we gonna do another giant robot?
I think the reason why it doesn't do well is because of anime. I just think anime just has so much more better episodes, more storytelling, and the animation is just nice. And I don't think anybody in this generation really cared too. I mean, it got 8 seasons, but I don't really think too many people care too much about Voltron because anime's out there. So much different anime, so much to choose from that is really good. Because Voltron was good for me, right? And then Robotech made me forget about Voltron. And then Transformers made me forget about Robotech. And that's how it went. But if they had a remake of Robotech, I'm watching it. If they have a remake of Transformers, the way it was when I first started watching it, I'll watch it because I think the movies kind of ruined it for me. It's just too much out there now. But Voltron, when it came on Netflix, I didn't care too much for a remake of Voltron. I really don't care about Voltron anymore.
Okay.
Now, as far as Robotech, was Macross Plus related to that, or was that something different?
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, well, it was like a different story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wasn't it sort of like this is a battle on this planet that was Macross? Like they were on like a different battle area.
I remember there being a little.
Yeah, there was like comics and stuff, but I didn't really get it because I'm like, where's Rick? And Rick was my dude.
Rick Hunter,
and where was Max? You know what I mean? So it's like I didn't get any of those. So I'm just like, I'm like, nah, bro. Like, that's how you did that. You're trying to create, which I get, but I was too involved with those two. I remember, Alan, I bought the books. Remember, like they had paperback books with the continuation of after Robotech, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it. Like, someone had like their kid and a family and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Is that Max's kid?
Yeah, Rick had a kid too. It's like It was years ago, dude. I vaguely remember anymore.
Max Sterling.
So I'm going to throw some stuff out there because past 5 minutes have just been hurling insults at some great institutions in cinema. Okay.
Yeah,
Pacific
man, I mean,
Rim.
it was good, right? Is that your favorite?
Pacific, which one? What?
Is that your favorite of all time, Voltron?
Favorite what? No, hold on, dude. I'm getting to it. I'm getting to
Okay.
it. First, we got to start with Alfonso. Okay. Pacific Rim 1 and 2 were both dope. Okay.
Yeah.
And there was a Pacific Rim anime.
Oh, that's right.
The first season was dope. The second season was a continuation of season 1, and it wasn't that good, and that's why there was no season 3. But Pacific Rim was dope. Okay. 1 and 2 was dope. I remember watching 2 again and seeing some flaws, but Pacific Rim was dope. Don't disrespect Gypsy Danger. Don't do that, dude. So as far as Voltron, Joe just trying to slight Voltron. Can I say it was my favorite? No. My favorite was G.I. Joe. I was all about some G.I. Joe, bro.
Yeah.
Now, was it number 2? Yeah. I don't care about Transformers. I don't care about He-Man. I don't care about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If I'm going to say my number 2, it's going to be Voltron, just because that's, to me, Voltron was the first thing I saw that was kind of like Japanese style as far as like, you know, the creativity, where I was like, oh, this is really cool. Because I was the poors, so I'd have to go to my friend's house to watch Battle of the Planets, and he'd watch it for 5 minutes, then change the channel. Like, what type of jerk stuff was that? Right. So I didn't get to watch all of Battle of the Planets, but I was able to watch all of Voltron. So yeah, definitely number 2 for me. So you guys got to stop with the blasphemies there.
I did say Pacific Rim 1 was good.
Yeah, but then you said Pacific Rim 2 was not good.
Maybe I saw Pacific Rim 2 like I saw Predator 2.
You didn't.
So, you know, ergo, it wasn't good for me because I didn't watch it. I just assumed because they stopped making them, they're like, well, let's throw out an anime and see how that does.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times, by the way, I think a Voltron anime would be so sick. Now, I think that a live action Voltron would be hot garbage because the technology isn't there to create the lions or the giant robot or the blazing sword or believable robies. I think there's just the CGI is not there. So hot garbage. Plus, I can't see anybody. You know how like Americans take stuff and they try to create like the tough guy and the big guy and the lady, and oh, it's the kid.
The kid.
I think the kid, right? I think they would make it such American garbage. I would hate it. So yeah, leave that alone with the live action version.
Well, I was reading and looking at how they were talking about it along the way, and I think one of the things I read about it is it was going to be Earth based, and it sounded pretty bad.
Yeah, trash. Yeah. It sounds like what Joe would say the live action of Dragon Ball was, you know, just garbage.
Yeah. I think Voltron is like James Earl Jones of like that type of genre in Alan's version of I can respect it, but I don't like it.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah, man. Like seriously, Voltron's still expensive because you know I've looked up like how much.
Oh yeah, dude, it's mad expensive.
Yeah, it's even more expensive now than like comparatively. I still can't afford Voltron, and I got like
you ever eat Raisin Cane's?
One time.
Raisin Cane's is good. You take away the sauce and that bread, it's just chicken strips.
Yep.
So if you take away Voltron and the whole show in general, it's just plain chicken strips without the sauce and the bread. Because that's the only thing double about Voltron is Voltron.
Wait, let me tell you.
Even the way they came up with the name was stupid. The video that Alf sent me, which they combined 2 different names to form Voltron, is so stupid. stupid. And I can see the Voltron fans going, yeah, but get it? Because it connects like the line. Get out of here, bro. Just get out of here, man. He wasn't thinking that when they did that.
When Joe said that, I was like, "But get it? Because it connects like that."
Yeah,
Never.
no.
Oh, wait, let me tell you guys about the closest I came to getting the Voltron 5-line collector set. My boy Hector was moving to Idaho, and
Why's he gonna
like
be
I'm
Hector?
helping him. That's my boy Hector. He was my boy. We're like, I'm
he
helping him
intended-
pack everything up. I was helping him load everything up, and dude, he like opens up this carton. He's like, "Oh, look at all these X-Men here. Take them for your boy." Oh, sweet. All right. Oh, here's some Star Wars. Take them for your boy. Here's a what was it? An X-wing. What are those little things that fly around? Drone. Here's an X-wing drone. I'm like, sweet. And it was like numbered and everything. I'm like, that's awesome. And then he pulls out Voltron, big old box like this, and he goes, "Yeah, I can't get rid of this yet." I'm like, no. I go, if it ever needs a home, you give it to me, and I'll make sure he has a home.
That's funny.
That's the closest I got.
That's far closer than I ever came to having a Voltron. Now, I have a question, Alfonso.
Yes, sir.
Did your son actually acquire them Star Wars and X-Men's, or did that become part of the X-Men's X-Men collection?
No, because a lot of them were duplicates of what I had, and the packaging was kind of beat up. So we went ahead and opened up those bad boys, and now we have wars.
So you said a lot of them,
A lot
but
of them.
not all of them.
Yeah, there's a couple that are on the wall,
Yeah.
but on the wall in his room.
Oh, okay. And you had that conversations all nerd dads have. Now, son, these are on the wall, so you cannot open them. I'm just going to torment you for the rest of your life with toys you can't touch.
Pretty much. Now, they're in your room, but they're mine.
Yeah. My son and I had that conversation.
They're not
Don't open
yours
them.
until I die.
Yeah.
He's like, "When are you gonna die so I can have your toys?"
So it looks like we're rounding the corner on this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast. So I'm going to say this. Voltron is one of those fond memories of my childhood. And when you're listening to this episode, you can go on to imwo.com if you want to pick up a Nerd World Order exclusive Voltron t-shirt. If you're watching or listening, by the time you watch this episode, because they're not there now. So don't think about it, Danny, because they ain't there yet. But when you're watching this episode, and knowing me, it'll probably be about December when it actually rolls out. They'll be there. So check those out. Copyrights be damned. So go watch some Voltron.
Yeah, about time. Let's go.
Blazing sword.
That's right. That's right. Any final thoughts, you guys, regarding Voltron for the ladies, gentlemen, and knights out there?
Voltron cars are lame.
Danny?
If I saw them come out with a Voltron live action, I still might plop down my money for it just for nostalgia's sake.
I would too. I definitely would too.
Yeah, but I'd still blazing sword that crap.
Looking at the screen really quick, it reminds me of like the Voltron, when they had the little split screens and everybody's like, ah. So like we're all in our own lines. All we need is the girl in the middle to fly the green one, right? So which line are we?
That's pretty much Power Rangers, bro.
But which line are you?
Well, me and Joe are the legs. So.
I'm gonna have to be
I
the
don't
yellow
know.
one.
If we're doing different colors, I guess I'll be the Black Ranger. You know what I'm saying? Light skinned brother coming back.
Well, wait, you're wearing the black uniform, so that means you're driving the red one.
No.
Or you want the Black Lion?
Yeah, because the black guy's not going to be in the Black Lion because that's what they
But
do.
we know
That's
Deuce
what they
is
do.
the leader.
But that's what they do, bro. It don't matter. They can still be a leader on the leg.
I'm the left leg leading it. I'm the one we put up everybody's ass. Boot to the head.
So I want to be the right arm, which is the green one, simply because I want to be part of the formation of the blazing sword.
Ooh.
Which one's the left one? The blue one? It was the blue
Green
one, right?
one.
The
Yeah.
green one. Was it the green
Yeah.
one?
The red one.
And then-
Green and red were the arms, blue and yellow were the legs, black
Yeah.
was the torso.
Actually, if we look at what we're wearing, I'm wearing black. Dukes is in blue. Joe's in red, and he's in green.
I'm not in red, bro. This
that
is
green?
orange, homie.
Orange is like light red.
This
Oh,
is a
or is that-
Deadpool. It's orange, bro. I always like the blue one though.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this concludes this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I am NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds redefined.
Oh yeah.